Sash. Hello and welcome to the English Doctor podcast. Real life is the real classroom. Extended 550 to 600 words. Let's start with a truth most learners ignore. You don't learn English to pass tests. You learn English to live your life. But look at how most people study. They sit with books. They memorize rules. They write notes. They learn about English, but they don't learn how to use it. And then one day, they step into the real world. A shop, a market, a store. Someone asks a simple question, "How can I help you?" And suddenly, everything disappears. All the grammar, all the vocabulary, all the hours of study, gone. Not because they didn't learn, but because they never practiced real situations. This is the gap. The difference between knowing and using. Now imagine this. A learner decides to change the approach. No more only books. No more only theory. They choose real life as their classroom. They walk into a shop, heart beating fast, hands slightly nervous. But this time, they are prepared. Not with complicated sentences, but with simple, real phrases. How much is this? Do you have another color? I'm just looking, thank you. These are not advanced sentences. They are not impressive, but they are real. And that's what matters. Because language is not meant to sound perfect. It's meant to work. The first time they speak, it feels uncomfortable. Say, the voice is low. The pronunciation is not clear. But something important happens. The shopkeeper understands, responds, communicates. And in that moment, fear cracks. Because they realize, I don't need perfect English to communicate. That realization is powerful. So they do it again. Another shop, another sentence, another small interaction. Day by day. Those small moments build something big. Not just vocabulary, not just speaking ability, confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from studying more. It comes from using what you already know. Let's go deeper. When you learn from real life, your brain works differently. You don't just memorize words. You connect them to situations. The word price is not just a word anymore. It becomes, how much is the price? The word size becomes, do you have a larger size? Now the word has a place, a purpose, a memory. And that's why it stays. Because your brain remembers what is useful, what is used, what is experienced, not what is just written in a notebook. This is why real life is the best teacher. It forces you to think, to respond, to interact. And every interaction builds your ability. You don't need a perfect environment. You don't need perfect English. You need real situations, even small ones. Ask a question, start a conversation, use one sentence. That's enough. Because fluency is not built in isolation. See, it's built in interaction. So stop waiting to finish learning. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start using English now. In your daily life, in simple situations, in real moments. Because the world is your classroom. And the moment you step into it, everything begins to change. You stop being someone who studies English, and you become someone who lives it. Confidence comes from repetition, extended 550 to 600 words. Let's clear a myth that quietly holds people back. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build. Most learners believe, when I feel confident, I will speak. But that moment never comes. Because confidence doesn't appear first. Action comes first. Confidence follows. Think about the first time you tried to speak English in a real situation. Your voice was low. Your words were slow. Your mind was full of doubt. You were not confident. And that's normal. Now here's where most people make a mistake. They stop. They say, I need to improve more before I try again. So they go back to studying, listening, watching, thinking. But they stop speaking. And when they stop speaking, they stop growing. Now imagine a different path. Instead of stopping, you repeat the same sentence again and again and again. How much is this? How much is this? How much is this? At first, it feels uncomfortable, repetitive, even boring. See, but something powerful is happening. Your brain is building a pattern. Your mouth is getting used to the movement. Your confidence is slowly rising. Because repetition removes uncertainty. The first time you say something, you are guessing. The second time, you are remembering. The third time, you are recognizing. And after many repetitions, you are speaking naturally. That's the transformation. Confidence doesn't come from knowing more words. It comes from repeating the words you already know. Let's go deeper. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity creates comfort. When something feels familiar, it doesn't feel scary anymore. That's why the first time is always the hardest, but the second time, easier. The third time, even better. And then one day, you say the sentence without thinking, no fear, no hesitation. That's confidence. Now here's something important. Repetition is not about doing more. It's about doing the same thing better. Most people try to learn new sentences every day. They chase variety, but they don't master anything. Instead, focus on fewer sentences. Repeat them, use them, live them, because mastery comes from depth, not from quantity. Let's make it practical. You learn one sentence. Can you help me? Don't just say it once. Say it 10 times. Use it in different situations. Say it in your room. Say it outside. Say it with confidence. Say, now that sentence becomes yours. And when the real moment comes, you don't panic. You speak, because repetition has already prepared you. Now imagine doing this daily. A few sentences, repeated again and again. Slowly, your fear decreases. Your speed improves. Your voice becomes natural. This is how confidence is built. Not in one big moment, but in many small repetitions. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Start repeating. Start practicing. Start speaking. Because every time you repeat, you are not just practicing English, you are building a new version of yourself. Simple sentences create powerful communication. Extended 550 to 600 words, let's break one of the biggest myths in learning English. You don't need big words to speak powerful English. Most learners believe, if I want to sound good, I need advanced vocabulary. So, they try to learn difficult words, complex sentences, perfect grammar, but when it's time to speak, they freeze. Because complexity creates pressure, and pressure creates silence. Now, look at real life. People don't speak in complicated sentences. They speak simply, clearly, naturally. How much is this? I like this. Can you help me? These are not advanced sentences, but they work. And that's what matters, because language is not about impressing people. It's about connecting with them. Let's go deeper. Say, when you use simple sentences, your brain relaxes. You don't overthink grammar. You don't search for difficult words. You focus on meaning. And when you focus on meaning, communication becomes natural. Now imagine you are in a shop. You want to ask for a different size. You have two choices. Option 1. Use a complicated sentence you're not sure about. You hesitate. You think too much. You get stuck. Option 2. Use a simple sentence. Do you have a bigger size? Clear, direct, effective, and the conversation continues. That's the power of simplicity. Simple sentences don't limit you. They free you. Because when speaking becomes easy, you speak more, and the more you speak, the faster you improve. Now here's something important. Fluency is not about complexity. It's about clarity. People don't care if your sentence is advanced. They care if they understand you. And simple English is easier to understand. This is why beginners who use simple sentences often communicate better than learners who know complex grammar but don't speak. Because they focus on usage, not perfection. Let's make this practical. Instead of saying, I would like to inquire whether you have an alternative size available, say, do you have another size? Same meaning. Less stress. More confidence. This is how real English works. Simple, clear, human. Now let's go even deeper. Say, when you use simple sentences repeatedly, they become automatic. You don't think. You don't translate. You just speak. And that's when fluency begins. Because fluency is not about knowing everything. It's about using what you know effortlessly. And simple sentences make that possible. They build your foundation, your confidence, your flow. Then, over time, as you speak more, your sentences naturally grow. Not forced, not memorized, but developed. That's real progress. So don't try to sound perfect. Don't try to sound advanced. Try to sound clear. Start with simple sentences. Use them daily. Speak them without fear, because in the end, the goal is not to speak difficult English. The goal is to be understood. Action transforms identity. Extended 550 to 600 words. Let's face a hard truth. Most people don't struggle with English because they don't know enough. They struggle because they don't act on what they know. They wait. They wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to become perfect. But that moment never comes because readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. And the people who improve are not the ones who wait. They are the ones who act. Think about this. You already know some English. You know basic words. You understand simple sentences, but you don't use them. So your knowledge stays locked, unused, inactive. Now imagine a small change. See, you decide, from today, I will speak, not perfectly, not fluently, just honestly. You walk into a shop. Your heart beats faster. Your mind says, what if I make a mistake? But this time, you don't listen to that voice. You speak. How much is this? Simple, imperfect, but real. And something powerful happens. You take control. Because in that moment, you are not just learning English, you are using it. And usage changes everything. The first time feels uncomfortable. The second time feels easier. The third time feels normal. And slowly, a shift begins. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is bad at English, and you start seeing yourself as someone who speaks English. That shift is identity, and identity is powerful. Because once you believe something about yourself, you act accordingly. If you believe, I am not good at English, you avoid speaking. But if you believe, I speak English, you find ways to use it. That's the difference. And action is what creates that belief. Not thinking, not studying, doing. Let's go deeper. Every time you speak, even a little, you send a message to your brain, this is who I am, and your brain starts to adapt. It builds new habits, new patterns, new confidence, not in theory, but in reality. This is why small actions matter. You don't need big conversations. You don't need perfect sentences. Say, you need moments. One question in a shop, one sentence in a conversation, one attempt in real life. That's enough, because repetition of action creates identity, and identity creates consistency. Now imagine your future. You didn't wait. You didn't overthink. You just acted every day, in small ways. And one day, without even noticing, you are speaking naturally, not because you became perfect, but because you became active. So stop waiting. Stop preparing forever. Stop thinking too much. Start now. Start small. Start speaking. Because in the end, you don't become a confident English speaker by learning more. You become one by deciding to act like one every single day.